Okay, so hopefully this will be my last rant. This is already my official first rant, so hopefully this will be my first and last sort of like rant slash gripe. But this is more of as opposed to a rant, this is more of like a buyer beware sort of thing video that I'm doing up. Basically, the crux of it is, and this mainly goes out to lightsaber fans, like well, young Star Wars fans that may not be completely clued up on lightsabers and stuff, but want to start collecting or have their eye on different manufacturers that build certain reproductions and replicas and stuff of their favorite lightsabers, and they want to start collecting. They've always wanted to get, a certain a specific lightsaber, Luke or Mace Windu or whatever. So this video primarily goes out to them. So here's the thing. Yesterday, I saw on eBay that a Master Replicas 1-to-1 scale Anakin Skywalker Revenge of the Sith lightsaber, that the price of it had completely skyrocketed. I'd already been following this specific item before because there was at one point where I was tempted to buy it. It's a 1-to-1 scale one, and I've never owned a 1-to-1 scale Master Replicas lightsaber. I have two 1-to-1 scale custom lightsabers of my own by Saberforge. So I do know quite a lot about the purchasing of 1-to-1 scale lightsabers, regardless of the manufacturer. But anyway, I was actually interested in buying this before. I had a couple of gripes with it, but I was interested in buying it when it was a much lesser price. The price that I saw that it was at on eBay was £700, and I know from experience and from research that about £700 for a 1-to-1 scale Master Replicas, specifically the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber, that's just the normal limited edition run as opposed to the signature edition. For those of you that aren't familiar with the two kinds, Master Replicas, back when they were doing the 1-to-1 scale stuff, and they'd bring out two different kinds or variants, so to speak, of their 1-to-1 scale lightsabers. You could get the bog standard limited edition ones. To be honest, there isn't really much difference. There's basically no difference between them. But basically, you could get the limited edition ones, which were just the normal run ones. And then you could get the signature editions. What the signature edition lightsabers is that it basically comes with a second plaque. And the second plaque has the personal autograph of the respected actor slash characters. So if you got the signature edition of the Luke Skywalker Empire Strikes Back lightsaber, and you got that in the signature edition, then you get a second plaque with it that would have Mark Hamill's autograph on it. So it's just like another nice little display piece to have, with your lightsaber. And this one on eBay was not a signature edition. It's just a standard limited edition run. So about 700 bucks for that. That's about right. That's about right on, regardless of how rare the 1-to-1 scale Master Replicas have become now and how coveted some of them may be. For the Anakin Skywalker Revenge of the Sith 1-to-1 scale lightsaber, that's about right, 700. If you pay a lot more than that, then you're getting ripped off. And then we get into the basis of this video, and that is a rip-off and buyer beware. I went back on there and I saw that this exact same item from the exact same seller had absolutely skyrocketed from £700 to £1,250. Now, I already thought that this was odd and, to be honest, a little bit ludicrous, the dramatic price increase, purely because of one point right off the bat, and that's that I know what that thing is worth. I mean, if you went to like the darker corners of the online marketplace, yeah, you'd probably find that item for about £1,200, but you'd be getting ripped off. But in the dark and shadowy corners of the online marketplace, like eBay, That is absolutely not what you'd expect to pay for that item. It is not worth that. So I took the liberty of messaging the seller. I won't name the seller, for obvious reasons, but I did message the seller, and I asked him. I was like, well, or her, I don't know, him or her, but I asked them, I know I was following this item before. I noticed that before it was on a price of about $700, and now it has skyrocketed. Can you tell me the reason for this? And the seller wrote back about 10 to 15 minutes later and basically said that due to the new movie coming out, he's been following the prices of the other Master Replicas limited edition one-to-one scale lightsabers, and they've all skyrocketed. So therefore, he was just basically following the trend, following what everybody else is doing. So I messaged back, and I said, well, okay, fair enough. But I noticed that, for one, with this specific item, there is a piece missing. Now, this is only a small thing, but it is important in its own way and in its own merit. So it may sound like I'm nitpicking, but just hear me out. So I noticed this was one of the things that put me off from buying the one-to-one scale Anakin Skywalker Master Replicas one from Revenge of the Sith. This one that stopped me from buying his item, this specific one from him. And that is that, this is the 0.45, by the way. I'm just using this as an example, and I'll tell you why in a couple of minutes' time. But basically, if you look here, you've got the two gold pins. These two gold pins appear not just in the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber, but they appear in all of the Skywalker lightsabers, all of the different incarnations of it. The Luke Skywalker lightsabers, the original ones, and da-da-da-da-da. And on his item, his version of this, one of the gold pins is missing. Fair dues, he does draw attention to this. He on his listing, he's got a big drawn red circle around here pointing to it, so letting the potential buyers know that there is a piece missing. Now, I know that this sounds nitpicky, and this may seem to some of you like a reason to not really care about it, to go ahead and buy it and just, not to whinge about it, but it is important, and that is that the whole point of these Master Replicas, whether they be 0.45 or whether they be the sort of cheaper effects ones or the high-end limited edition runs, you are buying these items because of their accuracy. This is what Master Replicas was all about. This is what they were about. This is why they had the license, and while they had the license, they brought out a hell of a lot of good products, because a lot of the other licenses that they've done, because they didn't just hold the Star Wars license, they held a number of other licenses as well, and were able to produce replicas, etc. But the point of it is that you are buying accuracy. You are buying faithfulness to the real prop, because Master Replicas, while they had the license, they had access to the archives of the original props. That's why the reproductions and the replicas that they made were so bang on. They were so bang on in their accuracy. So if you are spending whatever amount of money, but you are spending that money for Master Replicas, that is largely part of what you are buying. You are buying the accuracy. You are buying the faithfulness to the original prop. So if you are spending, whether it be $700 or well over $1,000, which it is now, something like this missing, whether it be a gold pin or whether it be, I don't know, a part of the emitter missing or tarnished or whatever, that by rights should devalue the item almost significantly. Now hear me out on this. The reason for this is because this is not a DIY job. If you buy one of these things, they are not cheaply made, they are not cheaply constructed, they're high-end quality items, and if something is missing on it, you cannot just go into any hobby shop and replace it. So this gold pin here, the specific gold pin that would have been produced for the production of the lightsabers, whether it be these 0.45s or the one-to-one scales, Master Replicas would have had a manufacturer that would have created those gold pins specifically for their product. So you cannot just easily replace them because you don't know what exactly it is. I mean, that could just be a normal, just cheap pin found anywhere that's painted gold, but you don't know. You really don't know. So you can't really take the chance of gambling that if something like that was to happen, you could just go into any place and replace it and it would look exactly the same. As if it was never broken, as if it was never lost. You really cannot take that chance. So when I noticed that the gold pin, one of the gold pins is missing on this guy's or girl's listing, that irritated me a lot, that they did not take that into account when they upped the price. That the gold pin is missing, that a part of it is missing. When I actually asked the seller about this, they didn't seem to think that it was really a big of a deal. So a little part of it's missing, so what? Well, it is a big deal because, like I said, these are not DIY lightsabers. These are high-end collectibles, and as of now, definitely, you pay through the nose to get them. So if you are paying through the nose to get them, then you better well make sure that absolutely everything that is supposed to be on that item is on that item. And if it's not, then you've got a problem. Then I think there is a problem there. That either you should not be paying what they're asking for, and they have no right to be asking what they are asking for. That is a problem. But anyway, the second thing that really irritated me about this was that not only was a piece of it missing, but he'd also added something into the description, or at least into the title of the listing. He added the word / name Rey. So when in the title of the listing, it says something along the lines of, Master Replicas limited edition, Anakin's lightsaber, or Anakin / Luke / Rey. Now I already know that a lot of eBayers do put this with their listings on some of the toy lightsabers, etc., the cheaper ones, and the argument that I raised with this seller was that it could be, or at least it could be seen as false advertising, or at the very least misleading advertising. And as I explain, hopefully you'll get more what I mean. So I'm not a massive Star Wars fan. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I'm a huge lightsaber fan. So, it's same as with Star Trek. I'm not a huge Star Trek fan, but I am a huge Star Trek Starships fan. I may not know everything about the universe, but I know everything, or well, at least a lot, about one specific aspect of that. One specific aspect of Star Wars that I am clued up about is the lightsabers, because it's my favourite part of Star Wars. So basically, the reason why I regard this as misleading, like to a lesser extent misleading, or to the fuller extent false advertising, is because canonically, the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber from Revenge of the Sith and the Graflix lightsaber scene from the original Star Wars and the subsequent Star Wars films where the lightsaber did appear, canonically it is the same lightsaber. But the issue is manufacturally. Manufacturally, they are two completely different lightsabers. They are two completely different props. And this is kind of like the basis of the grounds that of my problem with the seller's decision to add the name Rey into the listing, is that this seller obviously knows, because the Rey was not even in the listing of this item when it was first posted on eBay. It's only just recently been, it's only just recently been added. And they've done this on purpose. They've done this on purpose, and even said so with the new film coming out and stuff, you know, talking about the character of Rey and the popularity and stuff. They deliberately put the name Rey in it as a further selling point, which is fine under normal circumstances, but we are talking about an item on eBay that this seller is asking a hell of a lot of money for. And the fact of the matter is, and this was an issue that I raised with this seller, is that not everyone is clued up about this. Not everyone is that comes to eBay looking to purchase a lightsaber and looking to purchase a collectible is going to know a lot about the actual property and how they were made in the construction, etc., etc. So you could very well have someone come to his or her listing, the seller's listing, see that it says Anakin/Luke/Rey, and they will think, great, I've got an opportunity to purchase Rey's lightsaber, as in the lightsaber that Rey used in The Force Awakens. Well, that's not the reality, is it? Because the lightsaber that Rey used in The Force Awakens was not this. This was Hayden Christensen/Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, last seen and only seen, exclusively seen, in The Revenge of the Sith. This specific incarnation of this lightsaber, the Skywalker lightsaber, was seen one time and one time only. And that is it. So they may buy it thinking they are getting one thing when in actuality they are getting another. And all of this is because of the seller's decision to put the word Rey into the title listing, knowing that it's a little bit misleading. You know, they know it's misleading, because if they didn't know it's misleading, then Rey would not have been in the listing title. It would have been in the listing title from the start. It wouldn't have just been added as of now, the same time that they put the price up. So anyway, I did end up kind of winding myself up about it, probably more than I should have, but the more I thought about it, the more that it irritated me. Because the fact of the matter is, this lightsaber here, and this lightsaber in the back here, which is the Luke Skywalker Empire Strikes Back lightsaber, the aesthetics of it, the way that they both look, are almost completely different. You can see certain reoccurring themes, like a few here and there, but that's about it. Other than that, they are two completely different looking props, and that's what the point is. It's looking. It's not what they are like canonically. It's the way that they look. It's manufacturally. It's the way the item actually looks. So if I can just get, I've already done a review of these lightsabers in the past, but I'm just going to pop out, if I can do this quickly, pop out this lightsaber so that I can show you, because these .45s are literally just a smaller version of Master Replica's respective 1.1 scale lightsabers. They're just smaller. It's not like they're a huge, massive drop in quality. There's no real drop in the detail. You know, there may be a slight drop in the construction, but that's obviously due to the size of them. But in terms of the detail, they are just as bang on as the 1-to-1 scale lightsabers are. So anyway, so here we have, pretend that this is the item that is being sold and advertised on eBay by this lister, the Anakin Skywalker one, and by putting the name Rey into it, they are insinuating, sort of like pseudo-insinuating, that the item is this. The Empire Strikes Back Luke Skywalker lightsaber. This is the one that was seen in The Empire Strikes Back, and it was also aesthetically such manufacturally the same one we saw in The Force Awakens. It was borderline the same prop. If not the exact same prop, then they definitely used a graphics that was almost bang on, and I mean bang on. But right off the bat, you can see, aesthetically, they are very, very different. This prop here, the Anakin Skywalker one, was a machined prop. Created by computers, manufactured by computers, you know. Machine finish, it's got the gloss, it's got the glow, it's got the everything, it's got the bling. You know, a lot of the Star Wars lightsaber fans refer to this as more of like the bling version due to the details on it. But anyway, you can see, even just from this basic angle right here, that they are different. They are. They are very, very different looking props. And what irritated me is the thought of somebody going onto the listing, not knowing, not really being too clued up about the actual aesthetics of each respective lightsaber, but just taking note of the title and it's saying Rey, and them going ahead and buying it. And they would be bitterly disappointed when they get the item and they think, great, I've got Rey's lightsaber, awesome. They either do a quick Google search or they just re-watch The Force Awakens, and then they notice something. They notice that the prop that is on screen is very, very different to the one that they have. And in that, and depending on the uniqueness of that circumstances, it could very well go one way or it could go another. One way it could go is that they really don't care. They could not care and think, you know, canonically it's the same lightsaber, so you know what, who cares? It's fine, and that is fine if that's how they feel. But the other lamb, the other side of the coin to it, would be they realise that they have not got what they paid for. They paid over $1,200 for this, or the larger version, when really what they thought they were buying is this. There's something that looks a hell of a lot like this, and they don't. They look very, very differently. You know, a canon aside, let's just talk props, let's talk design, let's talk manufacture. These are two different props. They look very, very different. You know, they look like they're distantly related. They're like cousins, like cousin-looking lightsabers. Not sibling-looking lightsabers, but cousin-looking lightsabers. They look sort of-ish, similar. A couple of details here and there, but those details aside, they're different. And that's what really irritated me, is that it wouldn't take much for the seller to simply take that word out, take Rey out. If the seller has complete confidence in the selling ability of their item, if they have all the confidence that it will sell, purely based on the quality of the item and their fair asking price, etc., etc., then they don't need to put anything in the listing that could be construed from certain people as either misleading or false advertising. But clearly this seller does not want to do that. They made it very clear they don't want to do that. They want to keep it exactly as it is. And you know what I say to that? You know, I think in a sense I say shame on you. I say shame on you because you know what you're doing. You know that by putting this misleading word here and, you know, not decreasing the item due to a piece missing from it, that they know that you can't just replace. And even if you did replace it, you found some manufacturer, someone off Etsy or eBay that's selling a gold looking pin, and if you stuck that in there, the chances are you're going to see the difference. It's going to be right next to another pin, the genuine original pin, and you're going to see the difference. You know, and in most cases, whoever buys it, it would annoy them. It would be a bit of an eyesore. They'd never be able to really forget or ignore the fact that there is something not quite right on what they've bought. There's something not quite right about it, you know, and they have not let that aspect affect the value of what they're asking for, which is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, you know, because I've seen these master replicas one-to-one scale limited editions or the signature editions. I've seen them on eBay for over 1,000. I have, but to be fair, they are in pristine condition. They come with all the bits and bobs and this and that and stuff, you know, and they are also rarer as well. You know, the one-to-one scale Anakin Skywalker one, in most places where you could look, will not fetch for that sort of money. Whether the film is coming up or not, it will not fetch for that money because it just isn't worth it. You know, it really isn't. Just as a replica, you know, as a prop, as a selling item, it's not worth that sort of money. You know, the Empire Strikes Back one-to-one scale one is definitely worth almost twice as much as that. But anyway, I've gone on for this for about 25 minutes, nearly 26 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up now. But to those of you in the future that see this video, if the item is still up on eBay, if what I've said today in this video you do think kind of would bother you, then do take heed of it and do not buy the item, because it's not worth it. For the asking price, it absolutely is not worth it. And for those of you who have no interest in even buying the item, then at the very least, beware of things like this. Do your research. If you're getting into just buying lightsabers, you like lightsabers, you know, you like Star Wars, but like me, lightsabers is really where your heart is at. Do your research, not just on the canon of the films, the canon of certain weapons, but also the manufacture of them, the actual props themselves, the way that they look and this and that and stuff. You know, just basically get yourself clued up, because it can stop yourself from being taken advantage of and basically being taken for a ride, you know, and just have being ripped off, which I think that the listing on eBay is. I think it is a rip-off. There are probably those of you that may bash me in the comment section whenever people, you know, see this video and stuff. You know, there could be, and to that, fair enough, but this is just my opinion on it. You know, this is my opinion of this seller. I don't think that they are completely, I don't want to say honest, but I don't think they're completely fair. I think they're being quite unfair, and I think in a sense they're being a little bit unruly with their prices and what they are offering, and the item, what it actually is, and what they are potentially misleading it to be. But anyway, I'm going to stop this now. Thanks very much for listening, and yeah, I hope you take note of everything I've said. Do your research and beware. And I'll see you all again very soon.